to you because it's very interesting how foreign investors see Ukrainian OVDP markets and financial market from outside of Ukraine. So can you please describe how do you see local government bond market, and not only government, maybe bond markets, in comparison to other markets in emerging markets in local currencies? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Whenever people talk about Ukrainian local currency government bonds, the first thing which you hear people mention is always the level of yields. So I've mentioned that now. In reality, though, it's not the level of yields which makes Ukrainian local currency government bonds interesting. It's the fundamentals, and in particular, it's the policy framework which has been put in place in the last couple of years around the National Bank of Ukraine and its inflation targeting framework. And secondly, obviously, it's the clarity on fiscal policy which has appeared in recent years, and the greater confidence and vision and visibility which market participants can have in the longer term inflation outlook. What it means is that the reason that people, including ourselves in Raiffeisen Bank International and Raiffeisen Naval and our institutional investor clients, the reason we like Ukrainian government bonds is the fundamentals in relation to the level of yields. And what you see right now, obviously, is that the real yield level in Ukraine, depending on how you measure it, is still around 6-7%, between 6 and 8%. And if you then plot that against fundamentals, so for example, plot the level of real yields globally, including Ukraine, plot that against the investment savings gap, the current account deficit, what you see in Ukraine is obviously that real yields still look excessively high in relation to the improving fundamentals. What it means is that you get risk premium for holding Ukrainian government bonds. And as investors, we know that the best way in the medium term to earn positive excess returns is to invest in markets where you have positive risk premium. And it's still the case in Ukraine. So in short, in an international emerging markets comparison, Ukraine comes top of the list, not because of nominal yields, not because of real yields, but because of real yields in relation to fundamentals.
Okay, thanks. But what main competitors on global markets, in emerging markets, do you see to Ukraine, for example? Maybe it's Turkey bonds, Egypt, Nigeria, who they are?
I mean, I think, obviously, you don't have to worry about Germany when it comes to competitors if you compare negative 50 basis points yields with what you've got in Ukraine. More seriously, obviously, people often talk in the same breath as Egypt. People no longer talk about Argentina in the same breath because obviously we don't talk about things which go wrong. But nevertheless, if you look in the high yield space, obviously people are looking at high nominal yields as Egypt, Turkey, and to a lesser extent some of the other Latin American countries. In short, though, I don't think there is a single emerging market which has quite the same mix of fundamentals as Ukraine does.